All right. We should be live. We should be good now. Sorry about that. It was just kind of the Warcraft chat, whatever you call it, general chat, kind of had put me off. And Dark Moon Fair is not there anymore for the month, so let's do Valorant. Looks like I'm not sure if stream's working. Now it is. Cool. Now we're good. So hopefully the Dark Moon Fair tickets stay for next time. They should. I had like 50, like 56 or something. I needed 90 for the Dark Moon Fair cloak cape.
Match found.
They have no idea how heartless I am.
Spike rush.
Turret out.
Cutting their vision.
Reloading.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my god, I'm stupid. Jeez.
For you. Spike planted. Last player
Ah,
standing.
come on. I was trying to get my mouse is like acting weird.
Last round in the half.
That's a little better, I guess. I just hate keeps like dragging.
My ultimate is ready. My ultimate is ready. Place my ultimate is ready.
Sorry about that.
Here.
The hunt begins. It's you and me.
Oh, come on. I knew better there.
Your duty is not
Okay.
Back.
reloading.
Oh my god. What is going on? Got him. Jeez.
One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left. Spike planted.
They will cover.
Last player standing.
That was dumb. That was really dumb.
Switching sides.
Careful. Get in sight.
Frick. Am I dead? Yeah.
Spotted A.
Tripwire destroyed.
Placing alarm bot. Ooh. Found them. Turret out. Here. Out of charges. Placing swarm grenade. Careful. Good attempt.
One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Swarm grenade out.
Might try something in a second. Sorry, let me.
Alarm bot out.
Reloading.
Placing
Cutting their vision.
bomb grenade out.
Cutting their vision.
Die.
Turret out.
Enemy
Spike
You
planted.
fought well. My ultimate is ready. Night night. Placing swarm
Wall
grenade.
raised. Here.
One enemy remaining. Flawless.
All right, let me see if I can.
I like it.
Yeah, maybe
Match
I
point.
might not be able to right now. All right, whatever.
Alarm bot out.
The hunt
Placing
begins.
sentry. Placing swarm grenade. Lights down.
Oh, what a shot!
Placing swarm grenade.
What a shot!
Careful.
Swarm grenade out.
They will cover.
Last player standing.
Disappoint me.
Ah! That was the last one.
Sudden death.
Reloading.
Enemy spotted mid.
Cutting their vision. There.
Blocking sight.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I know.
Spike planted. My ult ready.
Enemy killed.
They
My
will
ultimate.
cover.
Watch this.
One enemy remaining.
Blind.
Got him.
You will barely work here.
Attackers win.
Woo! Let's go. All right, let me do what I was trying to do, because, like, here, put these on the ground. All right, one second. I just want to clean this up a bit. It just was kind of annoying me. The mouse constantly dragging against the table. Let me see if I can hopefully everything's still working. And I'll mess with this later. Put on the Buddha and this. There we go. All right, let's see how this. All right, that's better. That's better. Okay. Do we want to do League now? Yeah, maybe we'll do League or Warcraft, we'll see. Ironically, I kind of want to do a Fortnite. Let me see if anyone good is on League. See if it loads. Or it's loading. No one's online? What? Wait, that doesn't make sense. Oh, it's like glitched. Let me try logging back in. There we go. Let's just queue up. You know what I thought too is I may start doing book reading streams. Like Isha Foundation books. Might start doing that. I don't always have as much fun playing games now. I do sometimes.
The Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned. First blood.
Okay. Great. Oh my god, please, 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 please. I was trying to see if the, okay, it's working. Yeah, it's okay. I was seeing if OBS was working. What are they doing? Oh no. Oof. I forgot Jinx is not as strong as she used to be.
An ally has been slain.
Dude, I swear, this Blitz thing is so stupid. I wish, how can you get rid of it?
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
Mm-hmm. Oh, frick. I'm dead.
You have been slain.
Forgot about Ash's slow. Oh my god. I swear when I play League, I like sometimes I just start thinking about other things. I get distracted. Okay, okay, okay.
Slain.
Nice.
Enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Killing spree.
Oh, that was insane. Oh my god. I'm playing so bad. I'm just not warmed up. I don't. It's okay. Oh my god.
Killing spree. An ally has been slain.
Oh, there's Hecarim. Tom's probably dead.
An ally has been slain.
My allergies. I can feel them acting up. Ugh.
An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain.
Let's go by. Ugh, can't.
An enemy has been slain.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize how low I was.
Unstoppable.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Has destroyed a turret.
Hey, what's up, Noopy Noop? Hey, Steve, I just saw your message. How's it going, man? We're dominating this league. It's my warm-up, too. But if I win, I'm just gonna do another game. Or maybe I'll even read some of a book tonight. We'll see. Right, I feel like I need to find like a new game to get into, really. I'm really feeling like I want to get into a different game. I mean, like, you know, I'll still play these games casually, whatever, but I just want to play something new, or different. Uh-huh. They're probably gonna forfeit. Oops. Yeah, I'm gonna read in a second. Got it. Jeez. Absolutely dominating. Jinx go mid, okay. Just been healing today. I've been feeling that every day too. Hard to find a game. Yeah, laugh out loud. Yeah, I know what you mean. I just like I want like a new game. Something multiplayer ideally. Oh my gosh, I got a double. Oh. Oh my god. 16,000 kills. You guys, yeah. He said we're cracked. I know. I'm the gold Jinx god.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
The king of the cactus. Friends with the king of the fountain.
Has been slain. Has been slain.
Oh, shoot, what am I doing? Good game. Okay. Got promoted. 9 to 6.5 KDA. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and then Noopy, I saw that what's it called? The Dark Moon Fair in retail is over for now, I guess. Oh, it must be that. Yeah, that's the first Sunday into all of that. Let's do this. Quit Blitz. Quit the Riot app. Okay, give me a second. Let me think real quick. You know, I may read a bit. I think I'm gonna read. Let's try it out. I keep putting it off. Yeah. Here, what I could do is... Let me get... Gonna need a few minutes, guys. Let me get a clear picture. This one's pretty good. I like that one. Isha. Did that not work? It didn't work. Give me a second. See if this one works. Right, this one works. Do something like this, and then I'll put me here. And maybe like one more picture. Alright, this one's good. I also kind of liked... This one's pretty intense. Okie dokie. We'll do happy one for now. Okay. This. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let me turn on a light, like this light. Hopefully that'll be good enough. Let me get the books. Okay, let me put this on speakers. Speakers. Cool. Put this down. Let's see what we got. So we have The Death Book by Sadhguru. All these books are really amazing, actually. Adiyogi by Sadhguru. This one is More Than a Life, which doesn't have a cover. If it did, I took it off. Mystics Musings. And then this is not a Sadhguru book, but it's called Self, I, Me, Mine, Ours, Illusions. Let's see. And let me actually put the AC on a little bit. Okay. What was going to say laugh out loud? Oh, what's funny? All right. Like League of Legends, laugh out loud, they're both the same thing. Let's see. Oh, and then I don't know if I should. The Karma book. Karma book. I want to get the inner engine. I had the inner engineering book, but I think I lent it to somebody and haven't got that back. All right, we'll start with the Karma book. Okay. Check, check, check. Yo, what's up, guys? We're gonna read a bit from the book Karma by Sadhguru. I'm just gonna start the beginning with a note to the reader. Oh wait, actually, no. Actually, there's an introduction. No, we'll do a note to the reader. Yeah, here we go. The word Sadhguru, as I often point out, means an uneducated guru. An uneducated guru does not come from accumulated scriptural information, but from a moment-to-moment inner knowing. I come, therefore, from a place of direct experience, not second-hand knowledge. My approach to karma, therefore, is not and has never been that of a scholar. When I speak of karma, I am not drawing on doctrine. I am drawing on perception. Conceptual knowledge is the way of the academic. Perpetual knowing is the way of the yogi. Part 1 of this book explains karma. In all its complexity and multidimensionality, it may seem to deal with pure concepts, sometimes challenging ones, but I want to emphasize that these are not abstruse theories, but rather direct insights into the actual workings of karma. This is a section for the thirsty. It is for those who have nursed questions over the years. Questions such as, what is karma? How does it accumulate? What makes the machinery work? When did this whole complicated and crazy cycle begin? It is for those who aren't looking for mere user manuals, but for a glimpse into the very mechanism of the karmic wheel. This section examines how the wheel comes into being and gains momentum. It leads you step by step into the subject of karma, what it is, how it accumulates, the many ways in which human personality is shaped, the incredibly vast reservoir of memory that every individual carries, the role of volition, the subtle ways in which karma adheres to us even when we seek to free ourselves of it. Spiritual seekers usually want to shed their karma, but it is important to remember that karma is not our enemy. It is not necessary to eliminate all karma to lead a life of well-being. Indeed, we would not be able to live without karma, for human life is sustained by it. At the same time, karma can become wounding and deeply entangling if we do not learn how to handle it. The yogic system gives no commandments whatsoever. It leaves you free to choose whether you want to generate positive karma for the future, distance yourself from your karmic package, or dissolve it altogether. Even as this book explores and outlines these various possibilities, the choice is yours. If you find your foot recurrently crushed under a wheel, the problem is not with the wheel. The problem is that you have no clue how to ride it. The aim of this book is not to reinvent the wheel, but to suggest ways to ride it joyfully towards the destination of your choice. Secure in the knowledge that you are in control of your own journey. Chapter 1, Karma, the Eternal Enigma. Sutra number 1. Karma is about becoming the source of one's own creation. In shifting responsibility from heaven to oneself, one becomes the very maker of one's destiny. In the driver's seat. It happened. Once the Pope went to the United States. His schedule was a busy one, with engagements in various cities. One day he happened to be in Louisiana in a chauffeur-driven stretch limo, the vehicle that demonstrates the quintessentially American ability to stretch a limousine to its limits. The Pope was excited because he had never driven a car like this. He told the chauffeur, "I would like to drive." How could the chauffeur refuse the Pope? He said, "Of course, Holy Father." So the Pope took the wheel and the chauffeur took the back seat. The Pope started enjoying the car and his foot got heavy on the gas pedal. He hit 90 and then 100 miles an hour. He did not realize how fast he was going. Now, the Louisiana police, known to be sticklers when it comes to speed braking, swung into action. When the Pope in the zooming limo saw the flashing light behind him, he pulled over to the shoulder of the road. The cop got out and carefully, with his hand on his gun, slowly approached the car. He looked in. He saw it was the Pope himself driving. He peered into the back seat and saw somebody else sitting there. Wait, he said. He went back to his car, took out the radio, and called the police chief. He said, Captain, I've got a real big fish. Oh, come on, who is it? Bonnie and Clyde? No, somebody much bigger than that. Sweet Jesus, have you got Al Capone? Oh no, somebody much, much bigger. What? You think you've got the President of the United States himself? No, somebody far bigger than that. Come on, who the hell can be bigger than the President of the United States? What have you got on your hands? The cop replied, I don't know, but he's got the Pope as his chauffeur. And that brings us to the crux of the matter. Most people don't have a clue who is driving their car. Look around you. Ask yourself how many people you know are living with any real understanding of the crazy locomotive called life. Most people are passive pawns in the ride, clueless about how the machinery works, the source of its octane, how to manage its direction or its velocity, or above all, who their chauffeur is. They talk of free will, liberty, and independence, but they have little or no control over their lives. Their destiny is something they create unconsciously. Welcome to karma, a dimension that puts you squarely back where you belong, where you were meant to belong all along, in the driver's seat. Demystifying karma. With that, we come to the central question of this book. What is karma? Literally, the word means action. Unfortunately, most people have understood action in terms of good and bad deeds. They see karma as a balance sheet of merits and demerits, virtues and sins, a life audit of sorts. To others, it is a ledger maintained by some divine chartered accountant who assigns some people to celestial bliss and consigns others to another world or into the maw of some recycling machine that spews them back into this world to suffer some more. This is not merely false and absurd, it is tragic. This notion has created generations of puzzled and fearful human beings who use the term indiscriminately without a clue of what it means. It has spawned a brand of fatalism that has paralyzed vast segments of people and has been used to validate social injustices and political tyrannies of various kinds. It has also led to much spurious philosophizing and empty academic debate, and has, of course, boosted the fortune-telling industry. Let us shatter the first myth. In actual fact, karma has nothing to do with reward and punishment. It has nothing to do with some despotic life auditor up in the sky working with primitive devices of carrot and stick. It has nothing to do with a benign God up in the heavens. Nothing to do with divine retribution. Nothing to do with virtue and sin, good and evil, God and Mr. Lucifer. Karma simply means we have created the blueprint for our lives. It means we are the makers of our own fate. When we say this is my karma, we are actually saying I am responsible for my life. Karma is about becoming the source of one's own creation. In shifting responsibility from heaven to oneself, one becomes the very maker of one's destiny. Karma is the natural basis of all existence. It is not a law that is imposed from above. It does not allow us to outsource our responsibility anywhere else. It does not allow us to blame our parents, our teachers, our countries, our politicians, our gods, or our fates. It makes each one of us squarely responsible for our own destinies and, above all, the nature of our experience of life. So the only relevant question here is, are you ready for karma? Are you ready to hear about a dimension that is so empowering that it tells you that you are fully capable of taking the reins of your life into your own hands? If not, read no further. If you're willing and if you are curious to find out more about how this mechanism works, this book could be your key. All you need to do after this is to fire up your energies and set off on your new life journey. Once you're at the wheel, your experience of the ride will never be the same again. It is important to remember one thing, however. Karma is not doctrine. You do not get any brownie points for subscribing to it. You do not get any negative marks for disbelieving it. Karma is not a creed, a scripture, and an ideology, a philosophy, or a theory. It is simply the way things are. It is an existential mechanism. Like the sun, it operates whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you pay obeisance to it or ignore it. It is not looking for a fan club. It simply turns you from a white-knuckled, terror-struck passenger in the backseat into a confident driver in charge of the wheel, joyfully navigating the course of your own destiny. And also, I apologize if I get a little emotional. It's just sometimes some of the things kind of spark up emotion in me. And also, like, I've been doing Shambhavi Mahamudra for like 5 or 6 years. And the past few months I've been doing Surya Kriya every day. And I've been intensifying it, doing 3 cycles every morning. So it's really been kind of like opening up a lot of things in me. And I've been like cleansing myself on like as many levels as I can, eating healthy, all that stuff. The karmic cycle. To turn driver instead of passenger, however, you need to start by knowing a few basic rules about how the karmic mechanism works. Let us start by addressing a fundamental misunderstanding. Although karma means action, it does not necessarily refer to physical deeds. It does not necessarily refer to what you do in the outside world, whether it be acts of charity or acts of villainy. Instead, karma is action on 3 levels: body, mind, and energy. Whatever you do on these 3 levels leaves a certain residue or imprint upon you. What does this mean? It is quite simple. Your 5 senses are collecting data from the outside world every moment of your life. You are literally being bombarded with stimuli at every instant. Over time, this enormous volume of sense impressions begins to assume a certain distinctive pattern within you. This pattern slowly shapes itself into behavioral tendencies. A cluster of tendencies hardens over time into what you call your personality or what you claim to be your true nature. It works in the reverse as well. Your mind shapes the way you experience the world. It becomes your karma. An orientation to life that you have created for yourself in relative unawareness. You are not aware of how these tendencies develop, but what you consider to be myself is just an accumulation of habits, predispositions, and tendencies you have acquired over time without being conscious of the process. Take a simple example. Some people may have been joyful children, but now unhappy adults. There may have been life events that triggered that unhappiness. But in most cases, people have no clue, and when they acquired this persona, if they had created their personality consciously, they would have crafted themselves quite differently. But somewhere along the way, by following the diktats of their unexamined reactions and tendencies, chronic unhappiness became their defining characteristic. In other words, karma is like old software that you have written for yourself unconsciously. Let me do something real quick, guys, because I'm gonna read your comment too in a second, Noopy. I want to get the light a little better. Let me see if I can get this. That might be better. Hopefully I don't want it pointing directly at you guys. That's probably fine. Let's read Noopy's message, and that should actually yes. Oh, so Noopy said, it's hard to eat healthy every day. They make things too expensive, though, to eat healthy. So, well, I'll tell you, I agree with you, Noopy. I was going to say, and let me move this a little closer to me. And also in a second, well, I was like recording a clip because I want to start doing a series when I read like a chapter, I like make a clip out of it for YouTube videos. But I was going to say, sometimes too, it doesn't need to be, what I've learned is when I like radically try to change my diet, it doesn't always work out. It's good to have like, to do it, like just start eating little bits of healthy things. Like for instance, I always will keep like spinach and mixed greens. I'll get like the plastic container that I can just seal it up, put it in the bin. And I learned the fridge, you put it, I have these like 2 drawers where it's like the high humidity drawer for these flex bin drawers, put it in there. And then like if I make like a sandwich, like I'll put the spinach on there or whatever. And I use honey mustard for the dressing. But I just start, or if I make a smoothie, I put some spinach in there and the mixed greens with like mixed nuts, a little chocolate, berries, mango. Like today I put apples and berries and mangoes and stuff. Chop them up and then mix them up. But I've learned, yeah, it's just good to like even do it at all. Because I think sometimes people don't take any action because it is overwhelming. Trust me, I've kind of been on both sides of it. But I've learned it's better to make like incremental things and it doesn't need to be all at once. And what else was I going to say? Another thing too, well, what was I going to say? Okay, just sharing from like my knowledge, because I've spent so many like thousands of hours studying Sadhguru and Isha Foundation. I've learned, well, there's a few supplements, if you know, that are really, really helpful for you. And normally, like most supplements are kind of just like bogus or whatever. But in actuality, turmeric, neem, and ashwagandha are very good for you. Turmeric, it's like better than ibuprofen. It's anti-inflammatory, it's so good on so many levels, and it cleanses you. It has like anti-cancerous like effects, and neem is really good for you. And then the ashwagandha, I'm not great, like I say, I'm not always like scientifically gifted at memorizing all of the advantages, disadvantages, but you can like look up the benefits. But they say, especially for someone doing yogic sadhana, whether it's the free Isha Kriya on YouTube, or if they're initiated in the Shambhavi Mahamudra, which is just a more expanded version of like the Isha Kriya. It has more steps. But the Isha Kriya is very potent. I recommend if someone that doesn't want to like get all into it like me, like I do, you know, just do the Isha Kriya. And it really, like, I do Isha Kriya every day too. But in the morning I do the Surya Kriya 3 cycles and then the Shambhavi Mahamudra. Shambhavi Mahamudra takes like 35 minutes, and then the 3 cycles of the Surya take me like an hour and some change. To do all my practices currently, it takes like an hour and 35 minutes. But the Isha Kriya, a very potent free meditation on YouTube, that takes like 12 minutes or something, 12 to 15 minutes. And it really can be life-changing. It is life-changing. You just start becoming more conscious, and you're going to awaken certain energies within yourself. It's just good for your overall mental, physical, and energetic health. But yeah, those supplements, specifically turmeric and neem, are very good when you're doing yogic sadhana. They're like the best supports. And there was something else I was gonna say. I maybe forget the other thing. But and then also, I don't want to go and it's okay. I'm just kind of like openly sharing. But today there's this Indian grocery store I go to called Bharosa. I believe Bharosa means faith in Hindi. But I noticed there's this like multi-grain health mix, which I could actually go get it. But normally I get something called Sanjivini from Isha. It's like these packets, and it's like a porridge drink, but it has all these like really healthy greens and things. But I noticed Barossa has it. Let me go get it just so it gives some context here. And I'll stop the, I'll stop the clip in a second. So this is the multi-green health mix. It's got like, and they call it mana, 14 natural ingredients, and it's got ragi, millet, corn, jowar, which is a grain, wheat, red rice, barley, lentils, which they call that pulses, fried gram, which is chickpeas, green gram, which is mung bean, and there's nuts, groundnut, cashew nut, almonds, sago, which is edible starch, and cardamom. So, but this is like, not that expensive, and it's really good. Mana must be the brand. But, and then for Isha, they call it, or it's like Sanjivini, but it's a multi-grain porridge mix. And like I was reading today on the back, I want to try this. You can make like muffins. Try substituting an equal amount of flour with Isha Life multi-grain hot drink mix in your favorite muffin recipe. I actually plan to do that. I might even do that tomorrow. I'll put these down here. And then also I'll stop the clip right now. Because if anything, I'll have to start practicing doing these type of streams more. Because I was thinking like I may even try to make it more as I get better at reading. Because I realize I read to myself a lot, or I'm trying to get back into it more. Because lately I've noticed like games are... Like, it depends on my mood, but lately I have not been enjoying playing games as much. But I think it's because of this intensifying my sadhana, and yeah, it's more like I just like am into life. I'm more into just like, it's all fine. I don't want to ramble about that too much because it's not good or bad. It's just more, I think a lot of my life I spend most of the time playing games, and it's all fine and good. It's good to have hobbies. It's good to have a balance of things. But lately I've been just feeling this like strong need to want to like change things up. That's what I'm trying to say. That's exactly. And I just want to real quick look at the sunset. Oh, it's pretty beautiful. I just like to enjoy it a little bit before the sun goes down completely. Here, I can actually open the blinds a little more. But there was something else I just kind of wanted to say, just related to the eating healthy. Yeah, I just think if we just simplify it and maybe just throw in some fruits and vegetables, keep it simple, and then get something like the multi-grain health mix. And just start throwing that type of stuff in there. And like honey is really good for you. just honey straight up. People can do their own research about this, but if you with like ideally a non-caffeinated tea, if you with a warm, even just warm water, mix some honey in it, but once again to clarify, do not boil honey because it makes it poisonous. But if you're boiling water and making tea, let it cool down a bit where it's not boiling, and then add the honey. And also, well, they recommend in Isha, you're not supposed to drink things really, really cold or really, really hot. And that's something that society, there's so many things that society does that's just like not beneficial for you on all levels, physically, mentally, spiritually. But I was gonna say, yeah, so I let it cool down. Sometimes I even add some like room temperature water, just like cool it down a bit. But adding honey to lukewarm water or warm water and drinking it, it's a weight loss thing, actually. They say if you add honey to something cold, you'll gain weight. But in Ayurveda, if you add honey to something slightly warm, it's cleansing and it invigorates the system and you'll lose weight. And I was gonna say there's on the Isha Life website, there's I have 3 of the teas, but 2 of the teas, one's like a heart health tea, one's a weight loss tea, and then one, I can't pronounce it right now, but it's like a tea you take for when you're sick. But they're all on the Isha Life website anyway. But there was something else I was going to say too. But yeah, just doing little things. Lately, I remember one of the things I was going to say. Another thing too, well, because if you think about it, and these are like Sadhguru's teachings, but I just share with what works. And I mean, like everything he says, whether I understand it or not, it ends up being true for me in one way or another. So I just really start accepting that like most of what he says, it applies. He talks about, well, this is like a whole thing too, where apparently it's like beneficial to store water in like copper vessels. And Isha sells like these copper vessels, and I always like just fill it up all the time. It like cleanses the water because like there's so much, I think like the fluoride or whatever crap they put in the water. It's just, and it's not good. And you want the water to have a chance to like settle. So it's like going through all these pipes and the integrity of it's getting messed up. But you let it sit in the copper vessel and it like purifies it. But when you drink water or eat food, well, if you notice, like, well, when I eat food, sometimes I've done it on stream, I do an invocation, the Sahana Vavatu, that invocation. But when you drink water, like, the earth is 3/4 water, your body is like 3/4 water, and we want to have, you're made up of the 5 elements, the fire, water, earth, air, and the ether. So anytime you're in contact with these elements, which is actually all the time, you want to bow before these things or have reverence for them because they're life-making materials. But in literally with the water, because water has a memory, just like our bodies have a memory. So you want to put your hands on the cup of water you're about to drink, and you could take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, but just give like loving energy to that water, and also like you're blessing it to say, behave well within me, and also like part of it's to gratitude for something that's not you willing to become part of you. But that's another thing that they don't teach anywhere other than Isha, and it really can spiritualize your life or make you become more conscious or aware. So, and then, like I say, I've gone pretty hardcore with all of this Isha stuff just because I've noticed how there's just so much stuff that doesn't work in the world. And then when I came across Sadhguru and started practicing all this stuff a long time ago. To this day, I mean, I'm still constantly learning and growing, and I think the growing never really ends until we're done with life. But yeah, these things can make a tremendous impact and change in our life. But sum up the whole thing I was going to say about simplifying the things, just like taking like the little baby steps and just start, once again, common sense, more fruits and vegetables. It doesn't need to be all fruits and vegetables. So I've noticed I've tried to do that just like radically. And then because I was like eating chicken or fish for so long in my life, it can make you not feel good because your body's just used to it, and it can take time. Because actually there was a time where for like 2.5 years I was strictly vegetarian, and I'll probably get back to that point soon, or eventually, but I would let it happen organically. And for now I eat chicken and fish. But the one thing, just while I'm on the subject, is it's really, and people can you can do your own research, but the one thing I don't eat anymore is beef. And just like beef, and like once again, it's not like they can just like read Sadhguru talk about it. But literally the whole process of the beef, it's like not good for you. And apparently it's just like, it's not very like good for your digestion, and it like rots in your stomach, or it's just not good for you. But the fish and the chicken, it's technically better for you, especially the fish. Because they say, yeah, there's a whole thing about we're supposed to eat things that are far away from us on the evolutionary scale. And fish would be the furthest when it comes to meat. But, and there's a whole memory to that, because it's like, or I was going to say, like, with the beef thing and cows, I don't want to go into the details of it, but the way that they're getting this processed meat or whatever, the memory of how you're taking all that stuff in. And on so many levels, even not only that, but then like, I just learned that I just don't eat beef, and I don't eat that type of meat. But the chicken and the fish for me for now is okay. Especially because I had decided like 4 months ago that I wanted to start getting back into that healthy direction. Especially, I highly recommend no alcohol, no drugs of any kind. It's one of those things I've learned in life that a lot of people, they probably don't care, they're just unconscious, but it's very damaging to the system, and I just think that it's not good for us, and it may like give like an immediate like sense of relief or whatever, but really from like especially the yogic perspective, when you start doing meditation and like eating healthy and becoming aware, you don't desire those states anymore of like being drunk or high or stoned. You'd rather be like high on life. And Sadhguru talks about this, where he says that if we're doing the right things and practicing Ishakriya or Shambhavi Mahamudra, you're going to have such a more sustainable, and like all day you can just be like high on life. And once again, I'm not a perfect, I'm still like striving and working towards getting my system healed and cleaned in general. But it is possible to be happy and euphoric. I will admit, it's even like where I'm at right now on my journey, it's a million times better to just be like clear-minded and here than somewhere else. Or like, I really dislike the idea of like feeling like you're getting some elevated state when it's induced by something else. And it's like, yeah, that's my whole rant on that. I won't go into that too much. But I just highly encourage people to be intuitive and to just be as healthy and clean and natural as possible. Also, something I want to do something too while I'm on the subject. I want to manage videos. I wanted to change the title of this so that here I'm gonna call it Gaming Then Reading from Karma Book by Sadhguru. Yogi Study Book Reading Stream. There we go. Okay, that's better. So, all right. And I was gonna say it'd probably be. I could take a break there for just to. Oh, let me at least get to the sadhana. Let me see. Oh no, we don't. Listen, let me see what the sadhana even is. Here, what I'll do is I'm going to put a bookmark on where I left off. The lives of many friends. All right, let me finish this section. Here, I'll continue another clip. All right, we're going to continue from this section. In other words, karma is like old software that you have written for yourself unconsciously. And of course, you're updating it on a daily basis. Depending on the type of physical, mental, and energetic actions you perform, you write software. Once that software is written, your whole system functions accordingly, based on the information from the past. Certain memory patterns keep reoccurring. Now your life turns habitual, repetitive, cyclical. Over time, you become ensnared by your patterns. Like so many people, you probably don't even know why certain situations keep recurring in your life, and inner and outer life. This is because these patterns are unconscious. As time goes on, you turn into a puppet of your accumulated past. The lives of many people, for instance, are dominated by food or substance abuse. Chemical addiction certainly plays a role here, but the primary problem is that they have set up a recurrent pattern in their life. However hard they try to emerge from it, they keep falling back into the trap. If one does not consciously rewrite one's karmic software, the regularity of the pattern can feel like it is being imposed from without, rather than initiated from within. But this software is not a fate to be endured. It can be rewritten, dropped, or distanced, as we will see later in this book. The karmic mechanism is ceaseless. Every mental fluctuation in you creates a chemical reaction, which then proceeds to provoke a physical sensation. This sensation in turn reinforces the chemical reaction, which then strengthens the mental fluctuation. Over time, your very chemistry is determined by a series of unconscious reactions to sensory and mental stimuli. Now, if you simply think about something that excites you, you can actually feel certain sensations in your body. This can be empirically verified. We know now that the human being is a psychosomatic organism, that whatever happens in the mind immediately imprints itself on the body as a chemical process. If you think of mountains, for instance, your chemistry will react in one way. If you think of tigers, it reacts in another. So for every minute mental fluctuation, for every minute mental fluctuation, there is a certain type of chemical reaction sensation. You may not even be aware of it unless the sensations become acute. All these sensations register and over time become the blueprint of your unconscious mind. You are therefore a living repository of karmic memory on levels you are not aware of. Today, research has shown that psychological and emotional traumas contribute to your risk for mental and physical health problems. We are told that mental distress can lead to cardiac problems. None of this is new. People always knew that if you go through psychological upheavals, your heart will break. All this happens because your body chemistry changes over a period of time as a result of constant mental and emotional fluctuation. This is a vicious cycle. If you touch the firmament of your mind just once, the resulting ripples are enough to keep going for lifetimes. The mind is a process that picks up momentum without any assistance from you. You may have noticed that when you were 18, you were able to shrug off difficulties and move on. That ability was more challenged by 30. By 45, many things seem to bother you. And by 60, you find it almost impossible to pick yourself up and adapt and move on. This mentality is pervasive. You can see it all around you. At 18, people are often anxious about their future. At 70, when most of their life is behind them, they are still worried. They have become such veterans at the business that they worry for no reason at all. This is because the cycle from mental fluctuation to chemical reaction to sensation, which then in turn produces a chemical reaction that leads again to a mental fluctuation, has gathered momentum. Over time, this has a cumulative impact on cellular and genetic memory, as well as on the energetic system. The unconscious mind is therefore a tremendous library of karmic memory. You would find this information very useful if you were approaching it consciously. The problem is that it manifests all the time without your permission. You feel like one big mess because you are punching your psychological keyboard randomly all the time. Think of a CD on which music is recorded. The disc is like your body, whether physical, mental, or energetic. The music is analogous to the impression recorded upon your body. Now, the music is just a small impression on a compact disc, but when you play the CD, you do not experience the disc. You experience the music. Karma is similar. You are not actively experiencing your energetic or mental or physical body. You are only facing the music, and you cannot stop it. You're experiencing your karmic impressions and imprints all the time, and you cannot bring these to a halt. Let me see how far along we are. Okay. The tedium and tyranny of karma. The level at which the compulsiveness of karma operates may surprise you. When you walk into an auditorium or conference room, the seat you choose may seem like a decision you made freely, but often a level of karmic compulsion is involved. If you attend the same conference or class for the next 5 days, you may notice that you are likely to sit in the same place each day. You know what I thought too is, if I really wanted to get organized with this, I should, each little mini chapter, start a clip and stop a clip. Start a clip and stop a clip. But I'll worry about that later. All right, we'll read I'm gonna read this last little part, and then I guess I'll take a break from this for today. The tedium and tyranny of karma. The level at which the compulsiveness of karma operates may surprise you. When you walk into an auditorium or conference room, the seat you choose may seem like a decision you made freely, but often a level of karmic compulsion is involved. If you attend the same conference or class for the next 5 days, you may notice that you are likely to sit in the same place each day. Many years ago, when I was training teachers to impart my inner engineering program in different places, the new trainee teachers would often say, "Sadhguru, what kind of questions are students likely to ask? What can we expect and how do we deal with it?" So I made a chart for them of the arrangement of the class and told them, "See, if a person comes and settles down here, this is the kind of question they're going to ask. If a participant settles down there, that is what they're going to ask." Now, of course, there were exceptions. A latecomer might choose a place based only on the seat that is available, but 90% of the time it happened the way I said it would. That is how predictable karma is. So karma is not some external system of crime and punishment. It is an internal cycle generated by you. These patterns are not oppressing you from without, but from within. Externally, it may be a new day. You may have a new job, a new home, a new life partner, a new baby. You may even be in a new country. But internally, you're experiencing the same cycles, the same internal oscillations, the same behavioral shifts, the same mental reactions, the same psychological tendencies. Everything has changed except for your experience. You can keep modifying the outer environment, but nothing will work because you haven't figured out how to change your karma. Something else seems to be pushing your buttons. Someone else seems to be driving your car. For every other creature on this planet, the struggles are essentially physical. If they eat well, they are just fine. But human beings are different. For human beings, when the stomach is empty, there's only one problem. But when the stomach is full, there are 100 problems. You may talk freedom, but you are gold-plating your limitations all the time in absolute unawareness. Even as you extol the values of independence, everything about you, not just the way you look or feel or think, but even the way you stand or you sit or stand or walk, is determined by your past patterns. Do not forget that in addition to being unconscious and compulsive, karma is also deeply cyclical. The karmic information within your system is encoded in different kinds of cycles. The largest cycle is the solar cycle, because everything, animate and inanimate, in this solar system is deeply influenced by the sun. Our planet is no exception. The solar cycle is a period of 4,356 days, nearly 12 years. Someone who lives according to the solar cycle leads a life of great health, well-being, alignment, and minimal friction. As the length of a karmic cycle decreases, life becomes progressively more unbalanced. If your life runs in 3 or 6 month cycles, you are in a serious state of psychological imbalance. The same inner upheavals or life situations will keep recurring every few months. If your life is determined by a 28-day cycle, the lunar cycle, which is also the shortest one, you could well be considered deranged or psychotic. The word loony, as you know, is linked to the word lunar, and this is no coincidence. It should be remembered, however, that the karmic cycle has nothing to do with the reproductive cycles of the female body. Now, if we do not break these internal and external patterns, nothing new will happen. You might have noticed that the more successful you become, the more frustrated you get, because somewhere unconsciously you sense that you are simply going around in circles. You may have learned to ride the cycle, but you're not free from it. With yogic practices, the aspiration is to move towards the solar cycle so your balance and stability are assured. You may not be able to change your past action and the mental and emotional karma you accumulated, but you no longer slide into short spin cycles. You no longer wear your karma as a skin-tight garment. You learn to wear it loosely. You hold it at a distance. The problem is that people do not realize just how tenacious karma is. You could meet with an accident and die, but your karma is not destroyed. You could break your head and blow all your brains out, but the karma continues. This is how resilient, how relentless, how subtle the karmic mechanism is. And that is why freedom from the cycle so often seems like such a remote possibility. The yogic tradition tells us that in addition to the physical body, the Anandamaya Kosha, each human being has a mental body, Manomaya Kosha, and an energy body, Pranamaya Kosha. There are subtler bodies as well, known as the etheric body, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and the bliss body, Anandamaya Kosha. But the accumulation of karma essentially happens on the levels of the first three bodies, physical, mental, and energetic. Therefore, even if you break your body and your mind, your life energy continues to bear the karmic imprint, like a computer hard disk. The backup systems are so efficient that even if you lose your body or your mind, you still do not lose your karma. However, it does not matter what volumes of karma you have. The moment you start stepping into the subtler dimensions of the etheric and bliss bodies, your karma cannot touch you. The law of cause and effect can operate only on the physical, mental, and energy levels. Beyond that, it has no impact. The moment you begin to taste the divine, as it were, your karma has no hold over you. We will explore this at greater length in part 2 of this book. There was a time when human beings wrote on stone tablets. From stone tablets we moved to leaves, and then we came to books. From books we moved to cassettes and CDs. We have now come to the age of microchip. What could be stored on 1 million stone tablets is encrypted in the tiniest speck imaginable. It won't be long before technology finds a way to start recording information on pure energy itself. This may not yet have manifested in modern technology, but eventually it will happen. I say this not out of any technological knowledge, but because I know how the inner mechanism works. And the atomic and the cosmic, the individual and the universal, mirror each other on every level. Right now, the same electricity that powers your light bulb becomes light. The same electricity that powers your air conditioner makes the air cool. The same electricity that powers a microphone becomes amplified sound. This is not because the electricity is intelligent. It is simply the mechanism of the application. But a day will come when we will have smart electricity. We will be able to load memory onto the energy of electricity directly, so the very electric stream can come with an intent. It will have the information to behave in specific ways and to make certain decisions. Maybe the day is still far away, but I have no doubt we are heading there. When I initiate groups of people into a spiritual process, each person's energies behave differently, depending on their karmic information. Though the same process is offered to everybody, Each person's energy response depends upon the type of karma they carry. The energy body responds according to the kind of software imprinted upon it. That is why two people's response to an initiation is never the same. In short, karma operates on many different planes. You cannot shake it off with physical illness or accident, dementia, psychosis, or death. You will notice that even those who are mentally ill do not behave similarly. Their karmic structure may be out of control, but it still governs the way they behave. Unless you loosen the grip of karma, there is no way out. This is the deadly tedium and tyranny of the karmic rut. This is also why people have from time immemorial sought something more, even though they do not know what it is. This condition has been given many names, from existential discontent and ennui to simple anxiety and unease. It is the sense of not living life at full throttle, not understanding its purpose, its beginning or its end, its direction or the source of its propulsion. It is the age-old human resentment of powerlessness, of limitation. Wow. We're technically, we're almost done the first. Yeah, let's finish the part of, I think it's the first chapter. Yeah, alright, we're gonna finish it. We'll try to. The smell of bondage. As we have seen, whatever you do with your body, mind, or energy leaves a certain imprint. These imprints configure themselves into tendencies. These tendencies have been traditionally described in India by a wonderfully apt word, vasana. Literally, vasana means smell. This smell is generated by a vast accumulation of impressions caused by your physical, mental, emotional, and energy actions. Depending on the type of smell you emit, you attract certain kinds of life situations to yourself. Think of a flower. A flower has a certain kind of vasana. It is this fragrance that draws certain kinds of life to it. It cannot move and it has no volition, but because of its fragrance, it may be chosen for worship in a temple sanctum. In fact, thanks to its vasana, it gains entry where few human beings are permitted. It is not so different for human beings. Here the word smell does not imply an odor. There is no value judgment attached to the word. It simply means that if you exude a particular kind of vasana, existence will ensure you land up in certain places at certain times. If you exude another type of vasana, existence will make sure you land up in certain other places. So it moves towards you and also moves away from you are determined by the smell that emanates from you. Your vasana depends, of course, entirely on the kind of residual memory or karmic content you carry. This works in subtle ways. You may not be aware of it, but in wakefulness and sleep, you are performing karma. A simple thought pattern could make you function in specific ways. If you keep thinking about the movies, or perhaps a particular movie star, for instance, you are very likely to see a particular person in a crowd who shares your passion. You might miss the others, those who love books or meditation or something else. If you see 1,000 faces before you, your vasana is likely to draw you towards someone who is similarly inclined. It happened. At a certain point as a teenager, I got myself a huge cobra, a marvelous 12-foot long specimen. It had made its way into a local tube-like factory, and I caught it, much to the relief of the factory workers. I hid it under my bed in a large glass container. Somehow, one day, it managed to escape. When my father heard a loud hiss from my room, he went down on his knees to find out what the matter was. When he saw the cobra, he absolutely freaked out. He ran out of the room crying, "Cobra, cobra!" When I entered the scene, everyone at home was literally standing on chairs and sofas. On the other hand, I ran into the room to protect my snake, anxious that my companion would be thrown out. My parents' Vasana produced aversion. My Vasana produced attraction. I managed to smuggle the same snake back and housed it later on the rooftop of my house in a large cage. On another occasion, it managed to escape again. I happened to be out at the time. As I came riding back on my bicycle, I saw my parents standing outside the house, consternation written large upon their faces. The school adjacent to the house had just let up at 4 in the afternoon. A huge crowd had gathered around the snake. Everyone was terrified. As I drew close, I realized what was going on. I knew I could not go home. There would be too much drama. I simply zoomed by, scooped up my cobra by the middle with one hand, and rode away. This story exemplifies vasanas at work. What provoked terror for my parents and others produced a very different response in me. I have never felt any aversion to snakes. My sense of kinship with them is an ancient vasana that I carry. I have always been comfortable around these exotic creatures. Ever since childhood, I have been able to intuitively track their presence in the wild. If I simply followed my sense of smell, I would know under exactly which rock the snake could be found. I developed quite a reputation in my neighborhood as a snake catcher. There are many reasons for my attraction to snakes. The connection between yogis and snakes is an old one. Both exude a vasana that draws them to each other. The snake is an incredibly perceptive creature and is intrinsically drawn to higher levels of energy. This is why Adiyogi Shiva, the first yogi, is always depicted in traditional iconography with a snake around his throat. In all those cultures in which people have delved into extrasensory perception, the snake plays a pivotal role. The traditional veneration of snakes, cows, and crows in India is based on the awareness that these creatures represent an advanced stage of existential development. Since yogis constantly aspire to enhance their perception, the snake is a particularly important presence in the yogic tradition. The cobra is revered as the only creature that can perceive the subtle etheric dimension, even in the daytime. Not surprisingly, it plays a significant role in several creation myths as well, even if it has sometimes been disparaged by those who feared its capabilities. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to change to a more comfortable chair. 1 second. Sometimes my computer chair is not always the most comfortable. Let me move these back to the kitchen too. a second, actually. I had cleaned off this chair the other day, so that's why, until I wipe down this chair, we use this one as the light holder. Okay. But yeah, we're almost done the first chapter. That's better. Okay. Yet another reason for this Vasana is the connection between the snake and the Kundalini, the cold energy that lies at the base of the human spine, which yoga consciously harnesses for spiritual development. The Kundalini energy has been described as serpent energy because of its similarity to the snake in terms of a shared pattern of movement and stillness. In the early days of my work as a guru, when I wanted to consecrate a powerful energy form called the Dhyana Linga, a unique structure in which all 7 chakras or energy centers are operating at their optimal capacity, I needed to draw very fierce and intense disciples around me to assist with this project. Now that this mission is complete, I have altered my Vasana completely because the need for that kind of concentrated energy work is over. I draw other kinds of people to me. I am probably unrecognizable to the people who knew me then because I am a different person. Depending on the nature of the work, I adjust the tone of my Vasana. This may be puzzling to some, but this is the way every spiritual master operates. However, the capacity to adjust one's Vasana is not an option reserved only for spiritually adept. It is possible for individuals, for each individual to choose not to be a victim of their Vasana to a great extent. All it takes is a certain awareness. With a little awareness, every human being can begin to transform habit into choice, compulsion into consciousness. It is important to see that whatever seems determined in your life has been determined by you unconsciously. You have written your own software. Depending on the way you have written your software, that is the way you think. That is the way you feel. That is the way you act. And that is what you invite into your life. Depending on the kind of fragrance you emit, you attract life situations. Some people seem to constantly attract pleasant situations. Others seem to constantly attract unpleasant ones. Or perhaps you see this in different phases in your life. In some phases, wonderful things seem to keep happening. In others, adverse circumstances keep recurring. Now, this simply depends on what you have in your karmic reservoir. Today you have rotten fish, so you attract some terrible situations. Tomorrow you have flowers, so you attract better situations. One thing that we are trying to change through yoga, and hopefully this book, is the kind of fragrance you throw out into the world. Many people talk freedom, but they secretly fear it. They feel secure in bondage. Other people opt for bondage because identification with an ideology, a religion, a relationship, or even a gadget enhances their identity in some way. Consider something as simple as your cell phone. If it is used to enhance activity, it can be a source of empowerment. But if it is used to enhance identity, it becomes a source of bondage. In this way, people acquire vasanas unconsciously, often believing they are choosing freedom when they are actually choosing enslavement. It happened some years ago when conducting a yoga program in southern India. I stayed in a village called Vilayudhampalayam. My lodging was opposite a hill. I was told that John monks had lived and meditated in these hills more than 1900 years ago. Maybe it's Jane. John. Okay. Jain. Jain monks. This antiquity piqued my interest because it meant these monks had lived only a few centuries after the great Jnana teacher and Guru Mahavira. Jane. It's got to be Jane, because if you put, Jane. One afternoon, I climbed up with a few volunteers to a beautiful cave located like a bird's perch in the rocks. The inside was filthy, strewn with bottles and graffiti. In India, every second rock and monument has the initials of tourists and visiting lovers scrawled upon it. These caves were no different. They were liberally scratched with the usual KPT loves SRM type of stuff. So we cleaned up the place. Now there were rough indentations in the rock floor, which clearly served as beds for the monks. I sat down on one of these beds. I suddenly found my body beginning to pulsate powerfully. Intrigued, I decided to spend the night there. It was a night of revelation. I realized that the subtle body of the monk who had been there centuries ago was still incredibly alive. I could tell, for instance, that he had no left leg. It had been amputated just below the knee. Now these monks led quiet, isolated lives and had done nothing of consequence in the outside world, but they had left behind such a powerful imprint that I could tell everything about their lives and their spiritual practices. The great rulers of those times are more or less forgotten. The richest folk and the most learned men and women of those times are erased from our memory. But these simple monks are as alive today as they were 1900 years ago. Their stories are available to those who are receptive, and they are capable of inspiring us to this very day. This is the nature of the right kind of inner energy work. It is imperishable. Every individual's energies carry a certain fragrance. The physical body falls back to the earth. However, the residue of each one of our thoughts, actions, and above all our energies lingers on. This imprint can last for millennia after our time. The more conscious the energy work, the more enduring it is. It is up to us to decide the nature of our bequest to the planet. This is what the anonymous Jain monks of Vilayudhampalayam did. Aware that every action has a consequence, they chose to live consciously. As a result, they achieved a certain kind of immortality that the rich and powerful in the history of the world have seldom managed to attain. Alright, so we're at the sadhana at the end of this chapter. And then I'm taking a break from reading. Sadhana. Oh, and actually I want to do this in a cool way. 1 second. Sadhana. A simple way to become aware of your vasana is to try to stay away for a length of time from that which you like, long for, love, or consider to be most precious. The intensity of the pangs you go through when you stay away tells you something about the nature and depth of your vasana. Now that you have identified your vasana, you can start working on transformation. If you think your entanglement is related to food, wait a few moments before you have a meal. If you are eagerly awaiting the arrival of a loved one, consciously wait a few moments longer before you meet them. Depending on how deeply entangled you think you are, wait consciously for a few more moments before you engage in that activity or interaction. You will see that your experience of food or love or life generally becomes that much more profound. Gradually, the 2 minutes of waiting for a meal could be extended for 2 hours or for an entire day. This deceptively simple exercise can mark the beginning of a tremendous inner shift. Consciousness is not a matter of behavior, it is the nature of existence. Compulsiveness, however, is behavioral. The moment you wait before you engage in a compulsion, you are aligning yourself with the conscious nature of existence. Over time, this helps weaken the compulsive nature of your behavior. All right, so with that concludes the first chapter of Karma by Sadhguru. I'm going to get going and enjoy the stars for a little bit before I get ready for bed. But I bow before you all. I send my love and my blessings. Please practice Isha Kriya for free on YouTube. It takes like 12 minutes and you will greatly benefit from it. I'd highly recommend when you wake up and you take a shower, do Isha Kriya and then go about your day and notice the transformation. So that's all. I'll catch you guys later and yeah, be well. Namaskaram.